Hare Krishna. All glories to Yasya Devotee. Hare Krishna. All glories to Yasya Devotee. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Krishna Pada Krishna Krishna Shiva Krishna 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 Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vigarhyaḥ Śiva Sari Gaur Bhakta-bhogām. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 14, titled The Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening, Text 26. Na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paraḥ va na ati ādṛtaḥ na uta kaścit vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām. Na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām. Na yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām
yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro va.
yasya loke sva-janaḥ paro va.
nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ.
nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ.
vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām.
vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām.
āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām.
āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām. न यस्य लोके sva-janaḥ paro va. nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ. vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām. āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām. न यस्य लोके sva-janaḥ paro va. nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ. vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām. āśāsmahe ajām bata bhukta-bhogām. Okay, word to word meanings. Na, never. Yasya, of whom. Loke, in the world. Sva-janaḥ, kinsman. Paraḥ, unconnected. Va, nor. Na, neither. Ati, greater. ādṛtaḥ, favorable. Na, not. Uta, or. Kaścit, anyone. Vigarhyaḥ, criminal. Vayaṁ, we. Vrataiḥ, by vows. Yat, whose. Caraṇa, feet. Apaviddhām, rejected. āśāsmahe, respectfully worship. Ajām, mahā-prasāda. Bata, certainly. bhukta-bhogām, remnants of foodstuff. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. Translation, Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He does not regard anyone as favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff and we vow to accept what is rejected by him. Purport, Kashyapa informed his wife that just because Lord Shiva happened to be his brother-in-law, that should not encourage her in her offense towards him. Kashyapa warned her that actually Lord Shiva is not connected with anyone, nor is anyone his enemy. Since he is one of the three controllers of the universal affairs, he is equal to everyone. His greatness is incomparable because he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that among all the devotees of the Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva is the greatest. Thus, the remnants of foodstuff left by him are accepted by other devotees as mahā-prasāda, or great spiritual foodstuff. The remnants of foodstuff offered to Lord Krishna are called prasad, but when the same prasad is eaten by a great devotee like Lord Shiva, it is called mahā-prasāda. Lord Shiva is so great that he does not care for the material prosperity for which every one of us is so eager. Parvati, who is the powerful material nature personified, is under his full control as his wife, yet he does not use her even to build a residential house. He prefers to remain without shelter, and his great wife also agrees to live with him humbly. People in general worship goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, for material prosperity, but Lord Shiva engages her in his service without material desire. He simply advises his great wife that of all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu is the highest, and greater than that is the worship of a great devotee or anything in relation with Vishnu. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitha Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। यस्वानुभावम् अखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितीर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम्। न यस्य लोके sva-janaḥ paro va nātyādṛto nota kaścid vigarhyaḥ vayaṁ vratair yac-caraṇāpaviddhām āśāsmahe ajām bhukta-bhogām. Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He does not regard anyone as favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff and we vow to accept what is rejected by him. So here in the previous verse, Kashyapa was trying to instruct Diti that, listen, it's not good. Lord Shiva is basically like my brother. His brother-in-law means brother. So it's not very honorable for you to engage in such an activity that would offend him. You should not offend my brother. And he tries to instruct her in this way. But then, understanding that her being emotional, and as people who are attached, she would perhaps argue, well, anyways, if he's your brother, he's affectionate, he's not going to get offended by this. So, therefore, Lord Shiva, Kashyapa says this verse for Lord Shiva, that he regards no one as his relative. He just called him his brother in the previous verse, but now he says, actually, he is my brother, so you should not do this to my brother. You should not offend my brother. But at the same time, you should understand that from his perspective, he doesn't consider anybody as his relative. There is no one who is not connected with him. And then, and also don't think that you can ever be independent of him. That you can never be independent of Lord Shiva or his control. Why? Because he is, as Srila Prabhupada says here, that he is one of the three controllers of universal affairs. That Lord Shiva isn't just going to... Basically, Kashyapa is telling Diti, don't think that Shiva is going to be sentimental and emotional like you. He's not. He won't be. He's one of the three universal controllers, and he is going to execute his duty because he's one of the universal controllers, and he's going to do what he's going to do if he gets offended. And so you should not do this at this time. He's given a task. And what is one of the tasks? One of the tasks of Lord Shiva is actually to produce demons. This is one of the tasks stated in the Bhagavatamrita, that Lord Shiva produces demons. And so that's one of his tasks. And this is exactly how he does it. One of the ways in which he does it is that he finds these people who flout the rules and regulations of the Vedas. And then, for instance, in the womb of Diti, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were born. So this is how the demons expand. And then Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha's next birth, Ravana is a great devotee of Lord Shiva. That you also see that demons generally worship Lord Shiva because Shiva has a connection with demons. So, Srila Prabhupada says his greatness is incomparable because he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that among all the devotees of the Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva is the greatest. We'll look into this a little later from the Bhagavatamrita. We're just addressing some of the other things that Srila Prabhupada is saying, that thus the remnants of foodstuff. So Kashyapa says we accept the remnants of that which he has eaten. Means, as Prabhupada says here, that the remnants of foodstuff is offered to Krishna is called prasad, but then when it is accepted and offered to a great devotee like Lord Shiva, then it becomes mahā-prasāda, and then those remnants are accepted. And so that mahā-prasadam is even more infused with devotion to the Supreme Lord. So mahā-prasadam is more valuable than just prasadam. It's like perfect, most perfect, most perfect. It's just gradations of absolute perfection. So, so Lord Shiva is so great. So this is another thing, that actually there is no, Shiva does not really have a city. He doesn't, like, Shiva is Mahadev. He is greatest among the demigods. And if you see all the demigods, they all have their different cities, they have their different planets, they have their different... Shiva doesn't have anything. He does not have a planet within the material world. He also explained in the Bhagavatam, maybe we will get a chance to go through to that section. But basically, it's explained that Lord Shiva has a place in the material world at Mount Kailasha, which is here in the Himalayas. Why? Because of Kuvera's devotion to him. That Kuvera worshipped him so much and then welcomed him, and then therefore, okay, Shiva accepted a place at Kailasha. But actually Shiva's abode, his actual abode is actually outside the material universe, in between the material and the spiritual worlds. So, but even there, he does not care to build a residential house. You see generally, this is seen even among famous paintings of Hindus, Lord Shiva and this and that. You will always see, snow-capped mountains in the back. You will see little tiger skin or deer skin, something like this, little elevated seat, and Lord Shiva will be sitting there. There will be Nandi, there will be the bull, there will be Ganesha on one side, Kartikeya on the other, or then seated on each other's laps, and Parvati will be there, sitting there, and that's it. But on the other hand, you look at other demigods, you look at even Ganesh himself, you will not see him seated like this, snow-capped mountains in the background. It's understood, everybody in Vedic culture understood that Lord Shiva, he doesn't really, and many times he's often portrayed as having a big tree in the background, and that description is given in the Bhagavatam, that Lord Shiva is sitting under a tree. Where? No. Kailasha also has a tree that's there. No, not crematorium. Yeah, the crematorium is there, but not that Lord Shiva is just dancing around the crematorium. In the Himalayas. And so then there's, anyways, that you'll see in the Bhagavatam. So he doesn't care to even build a house for himself. Shiva doesn't care to build a house. He just sits there. In the description in the Bhagavatam where Chitraketu offends Lord Shiva, there also you won't see any structure. There is no structure. He's just sitting out in the open and the sages are sitting over there. But no, if you analyze carefully, whenever somebody is going to meet Indra, immediately there may be some palace description or something like that. But for Shiva, you won't see this. He's just sitting out in the open. So, he doesn't even prefer. And this is amazing because his devotees of his wife, or even devotees of Lord Shiva, like Ravana, he wasn't sitting under a tree. He had the most opulent place in the universe was with Ravana. So, and same thing with Durga's devotees also. That Parvati's devotees also, they live in great opulence, in a lot of opulence. So Shiva doesn't care for these things. And so Prabhupada says that the people in general worship Goddess Durga, the wife of Lord Shiva, for material prosperity, but Lord Shiva engages her in his service without material desire. So this is the amazing thing, that Durga and servants of Durga, they live in great opulence and they want to pray. That's what they say. They say, Dhanam Dehi, Janam Dehi, Rupavati Bharya Dehi. This basically, that Dhanam Dehi means give me wealth. Rupavati Bharya Dehi, Rupavati means beautiful, give me a beautiful wife. Not just any wife, not Bharya Dehi, Rupavati Bharya Dehi. Give me a beautiful wife who has a beautiful form. So they're like this, they pray. They pray to Durga Devi for different material desires. But he himself doesn't use Durga for this purpose. In fact, he has her accepting renunciation because of him. That she's a woman, but she doesn't get to live in a house. Because Shiva isn't a grihastha. He doesn't have a griha. So where's the grihastha? There's no house. So Shiva is such an exalted personality, and what does he do? He advises his wife that all kinds of worship, the worship of Vishnu is the highest. Famous verse. Āṛādhanānām sarveshām, Padma Purana. Āṛādhanānām sarveshām, Vishnor āṛādhanām param, tasmāt parataram devi, tadīyānām samarcharam. That Devi, that word Devi is used because he's talking to his wife. That he says, Āṛādhanānām sarveshām, of all the different types of worship, the worship of Vishnu is supreme. Tasmāt parataram devi. And what is higher than even that? Oh Devi. Tadīyānām samarcharam. That the worship of his tadiyas, those who are his servants. The worship of his servants is greater. And note also that, see how Shiva addresses his wife, he calls her Devi. This is a very appropriate way in Vedic culture in how the husband addresses the wife, Devi. You will see this in many, many Vedic texts. Devi. That, oh Devi. This is, and another verse, it says, how does Parvati address Lord Shiva? Prabhu. Prabhu. That's how it is, Prabhu. So the verse is, it comes in the Vishnu Sahasranam, Phalashruti, that to chant the different. No. You're talking that's the meditation, this dhyanam. This is Phalashruti. It's Kimva Pekam Parayanam Stuvantarkam. No. She says that Vishnor Nama Sahasrakam Pateti Ityet Purusham Shreya Prapnam Svanicha. So anyways, I can't remember right now. But she addresses Lord Shiva and says, Keno Payena Laguna Vishnor Nama Sahasrakam Pateti Ityet Purusham Shreyam Prapya, anyways, that I can't remember the last word. So she says, Keno Payena Laguna. How can you chant the 1,000 names of Vishnu, Laghu, in an easy way? So you have Brihad Bhagavatamrita and Laghu Bhagavatam. Why is one called Brihad, why is called Laghu? Because one is bigger, the other is smaller. That's all. That Brihad Bhagavatamrita is 3 verses, 3 volumes, and what is it? No. This towards the end. No, it's not there in this. It's not the entire Phalashruti. So, Laghu means light. So she's saying, we chant all these 1,000 names. Is there a way to chant it light? So then Lord Shiva replies, Shri Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam, Rama Nama Varanine. That this Rama, Shri Rama Rama Rameti, he says the name 3 times, Shri Rama 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 Iti. So, Rame, this is beautiful name. So he first Shiva is a devotee, he's relishing the name before he explains all these other things. Rame, Manorame, and it's Rame, it's beautiful. Manorame, it enchants the mind. Sahasrama Tatulyam. Instead of the name of Lord Rama is equivalent to chanting a full 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanine. And he says that he chants this himself. And this is what he chants all the time. That Lord Shiva chants the name of Lord Rama. So, in this regard, we'll look at, let's see. Okay, this is the Goloka chart, and we'll go down here to the side. So, abode of Lord Shiva, according to the Brahma Samhita, next above Devi Dham is located Shiva Dham, one portion of which is called Mahā-prasāda is enveloped in darkness. Interpenetrating this portion of Shiva Dham, there shines the Sadashiva Loka, full of great light. Above the same appears Haridhām or transcendental Vaikuntha Loka. 5.10. Thereupon Shambhu, the Lord of Pradhana, embodying the substantive principle of all material entities, who is the same Rudra, the dim reflection of the Supreme Lord's own divine glance, consummates his intercourse with Maya, the efficient, mundane, causal principle. But he can do nothing independently of the energy of Mahavishnu, representing the direct spiritual power of Krishna. So, you go into this chart, this is Goloka Vrindavan, then you have Ayodhya, then you have the Vaikuntha planets. And there Vishnu is surrounded by all his different energies. Jnana, Leela, Vairagya, Aishwarya, Dharma, like this. And then there's Garuda, Vishwaksena, Bhu, Leela, Shaktis. Then you come down out of the Vaikuntha planets. Just before you exit the spiritual world, there is Sadashiva Loka. This is actually a spiritual planet. It is a planet of Lord Vishnu. And there is the form of Sadashiva. And this planet has, as it's described in the Brahma Samhita that we just read, there's half of it in the spiritual world, half of it in the material world. This entire section together is called Shiva Loka, Maheshdhām. Maheshdhām, half of it is in Vaikuntha, half of it is in the material. It's basically the border. It's the border. It's in the Brahma Jyoti. It's in the border. But Sadashiva Loka is a spiritual planet. And Mahā-Kaladhām is in the material universe. And this is the actual abode of Lord Shiva. And this Sadashiva is an expansion of Shankarshan in the spiritual world. And it is from this Sadashiva that the Shambhu of the material world obtains the incarnation. It comes from this Sadashiva. He obtains that quality because this is how, it's interesting because this is how Krishna as Sadashiva, when he comes in contact with matter, the material energy, he is Mahā-Kaladhām. And that is Shiva of the material world. And therefore, you see here, you have Mahavishnu, who's also lying pretty much in the same, he's inside, he's under the clouds. Mahavishnu is not above the clouds, because the cloud itself is the material universe. And within that cloud is the ocean of the Viraja, it's basically the Viraja river. And on that Viraja river lies Mahavishnu. And when he glances upon Ramadevi, who is massaging his feet, that glance, that light is Shambhu, Shiva, who comes from Sadashiva. And that, so you see here, and then Shambhu, and then the reflection of Ramadevi becomes Durga in the material world. And Shambhu and Durga combine together and they create the material universe. So, of course, while all this is happening, Mahavishnu is also emanating the millions upon millions of unlimited universes that are emanating from the pores and his breathing and everything like this. Mahavishnu is half asleep. He is like in this yoga nidra like state. And in that yoga nidra state, he glances upon Ramadevi pleasingly. He is just relaxing. And as he breathes out, the material universes are created. And he just glances. And then the whole material creation happens. And then he breathes in and the material universe is over. So it's really inconceivable, the whole pastime, that all this is happening just within one breath of Mahavishnu, but there's a lot that's going on. So, in the chart here, which is called the Lord Krishna's Divine Forms chart, you see how the expansions are happening. That you have Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he has his own expansions. I'm not going to go into the details. This is an entire seminar in itself. And Gokul Prabhu also, again, this is all Gokul Chandra Prabhu's. So if you want to hear this, you can hear from him in detail. So Krishna has his own expansions, Prabhav Prakash, which is none other than himself, such as when he danced in the Ras Leela or married 16,108 wives. It's just him, but just expanded. That's one type of expansion. The other is Vaibhav Prakash, where his form changes according to his emotions. That becomes Balaram. Then Balaram expands into the Chaturvyuha. And you have the first Chaturvyuha, which is still within the realm of Goloka, because you have Dwaraka, Mathura, and Gokul. So the first Chaturvyuha happens in that realm. It happens in the realm of Krishna's abode. So you have Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. That Shankarshan expands to form Narayana in Vaikunta. And then Narayana expands into having the second Chaturvyuha of Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And that's where we get our different forms of Vishnu holding different, basically, Narayana has 4 ornaments. That means like 4 weapons. Yeah. So, paraphernalia. Yeah. So then you have, so what are they? The conch, discus, club, and lotus flower. And depending on the arrangements of how he holds it, you have these different forms, which is Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda. Everybody wears tilak, knows how to put it there. Everybody is just staring at me. That's how that's where those tilak comes from. I hope everybody knows this. You're not doing this. It's a shame on you, you know. You should know. Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. So, if you don't know this, you're not saying the tilak mantras. And this was said by Yashoda Devi after Putana. She said a lot more than this also, but she mentioned all of these also. And we are supposed to chant these, and they protect us. So, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. Adokshaja, Purushottama, Upendra, Achyuta, Nrsimha, Janardhan, Hari Krishna. So, anyways, Shankarshan then expands into Karnodakashayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu. Karnodakashayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, then expands himself into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, then Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and then you have the different incarnations that happen. You have Leela Avatara, Guna Avatara, Yuga Avatara, Manmanta Avatara. And within the Guna Avataras, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu also manifests as Lord Śiva in the material world, because it is a Guna Avatar. So, the Guna quality, in that sense, Brahma, Vishnu, and Śiva are said to be incarnations of Vishnu. So, understanding more about Lord Śiva, going back to actually the verse today, or I'll just touch upon it without trying to pull that up. So, Kashyapa says we accept what he rejects. What is that? What does that mean? That, No, that he already said, that we accept his remnants, and then we accept everything that he rejects as abominable. So, exactly. That actually, this can be taken in 2 ways. One is that those who are conditioned, they accept that which Lord Śiva rejects. That Lord Śiva rejects Maya Devi. Reject meaning he doesn't accept her advances, he doesn't accept her illusion, nothing. Everything is under his control. But those who are in illusion, they accept what he rejects as abominable. Other things, material opulence, everything he rejects, but everybody else accepts. The other way to look at it is that we cannot imitate Lord Śiva also. You cannot imitate Lord Śiva. That Lord Śiva can live like that. Lord Śiva can dance around naked in the crematorium. but we cannot imitate that. He may reject clothing, he may reject proper behavior, he may reject cleanliness, but we cannot reject that. He may reject that as abominable. What is this? It's all for those but we cannot reject that. So you can take this in both ways, that both are to be understood and both are instructive. So Lord Shiva's example is always instructive. Okay, now we will read for as long as time permits from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Let's see here. Actually, before that, why I will say, before I read the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, sorry. Okay, so this is a conversation between Sridhar Maharaj and Prabhupada, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, in 1973. So Prabhupada is saying, skyscraper building in temple shape with 4 divisions, Goloka Namni Nijamni Chalechatasya Devi Mahesha. So Mahesh Dham, how will it be depicted? Parvati wise. Sridhar Maharaj, it has already been described by Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamritam. After crossing Brahmaloka, there is Mahesh Dham in between. Sridhar Maharaj, Mahesh Dham, and the devotee, Śiva, is devotee. Prabhupada, yes, everyone is. Shiva's devotional prayer is there in the 4th canto about the 4 sons. What are those? Sridhar Maharaj, Devi Dham, Viraja to Viraja, Nirvishesha. The last conception or the highest conception of Devi Dham is what are the conception of Viraja. Prakriti ends there, then begins. Prabhupada, Kaṛaṇā, Sridhar Maharaj, Kaṛaṇā. Then it begins. Brahmaloka, the halo of the spiritual world. Prabhupada, effulgence. Yes, so basically, so you cross the material world, you have the halo. The halo refers to the effulgence of the spiritual world. And that's where Lord Shiva's abode is. Effulgence, yes, Sridhar Maharaj, spiritual world. And there is also somewhat Nirvishesha. And then after crossing that, Shiva is on the other side, the higher side, or he is in the lower side. That is the differentiation. So Shiva is in the highest side of the material universe, but then he is on the lowest side of the spiritual world. So that's what Sridhar Maharaj is saying. That he is crossing that, Shiva is on the other side, higher side, or he is in the lower side. It's like that. That is the differentiation. Prabhupada, Shiva is differentiation on 2 sides is Shiva. This side also, Master or Devi. And this side also. He is searching after something. And when the differentiated world ends in Brahmaloka, there is also Shiva is devotee, this side. And Shiva is a yogi. He is searching after. And then there he is going to meet Narayana to face, insisting. Prabhupada, both sides he is a devotee. Both sides he is a devotee. But in this one he is the highest. There he is searching. And this theme that you will see, that Shiva is searching after Narayana. This is theme because he is a devotee. He is searching after the Supreme Lord. Sridhar Maharaj, this side, he is not such a devotee. But that is pure devotee on the other side, Vaikuntha. Prabhupada, Sadashiva. Sridhar Maharaj, Sadashiva Mahavishnu. On the other side, he is devotee, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Prabhupada, Mahavishnu and Sadashiva, the same. Sridhar Maharaj, same. Anyways, that's where that ends. So, let's see if I can change. Okay, this is Brihad Bhagavatamrita, text 50. First volume, chapter 2, text 50. We'll read as long as time permits. Within the universe, there is no higher world than yours. Even Lord Narayana's Vaikuntha's planet is found inside your world. Who's saying this? Narada Muni is saying this to Brahma. Okay, so Narada is gone up to Brahma and he's glorifying. Brahma, you are the greatest devotee. You worship Narayana. You are so exalted. So what is he saying? He says that on Brahmaloka, Lord Narayana resides always in his manifest form as the lotus-naveled Mahā-Purusha. He eats the shares of sacrifice and grants the sacrificial results. Text 52. Although in the distant past you made many attempts and were unable to find him, after performing austerities you finally saw him just for a moment in your heart. Then, therefore, you are surely the dearmost devotee of Lord Krishna. Indeed, you are none other than Lord none other than Krishna himself, appearing in various bodies for your pastimes. So here the glorification gets a little excessive. So in one sense you can justify that, but then Brahma becomes upset. So then Sri Parikshit said, thus loudly praising Brahma, bowing before him with great devotion, again and again, the sage Narada expansively sang Brahma's glories as he had heard them from Indra and seen them with his own eyes. So then, merely by hearing what Narada said, Brahma grew disturbed. He anxiously covered his 8 ears and said over and over again, I am just a servant. This is Sanatana Goswami writing this. So, with some effort, the four-headed Brahma checked the anger stirred within him by hearing what no one should hear and rebuked his son Narada. Brahma said, I am not the Supreme Lord Krishna. On what authority and by what logic do you say this? Haven't I taught you about this since you were a little boy? So, according to this, Brahma knew Narada as a little boy. Not that Narada popped out as a veena playing sage. It seems like there was a baby Narada at some point. You don't know about it, but that's what Sanatana Goswami says. There's so much in the purpose. I don't know what it is. Nothing about baby Narada. Okay. So, his personal energy, Mahamaya, stands within his sight like a maidservant. It is she who deploys her material modes to create, maintain, and demolish this world. Now he's talking of Lord Śiva. All of us he will start talking. All of us are subject to her and bewildered. So you should not think me to be the recipient of even a trace of Krishna's mercy. This is our Acharya, Brahma, speaking. By the power of Krishna's Maya, I am always deluded by various conceits. I think myself the controller, grandfather, and spiritual master of the universe. Proud of my birth from Krishna's lotus navel, I think myself a great ascetic, his great worshipper. I am overwhelmed by countless duties of universal management. Worrying about the imminent destruction of my planet, I live in terror of the all-devouring end of time. All I want for myself is liberation. Then, text 63. For this purpose of liberation, I engage others in worshipping the Lord and also worship Him myself. Since He is the Lord of the universe, is there any place where He does not reside? And then I'll skip over after some time. So, He accepts sacrificial offerings from me only to promote the Vedic teachings and show special favor to the sacrifices themselves, which are dear to Him because He is their original creator. So, the point here is that there are different kinds of devotees of Krishna. And here Brahma is being portrayed like this. Although, because he is also our Acharya, we also accept him as a pure devotee. But in his role as a universal manager, as the creator of this universe, it is understood that he may perform sacrifices, and Narayana himself is located on his planet personally and in the form of Mahapurusha and accepting the sacrificial offerings. Brahma says, but he's not accepting this because he loves me. He's accepting this because he promotes the Vedic teachings. He wants to maintain universal order by upholding the Vedas. And therefore he accepts these sacrifices themselves. Don't glorify me just as if I'm so great. It's not because of my greatness. It's because of the greatness of the sacrifice, which is dear to him, which is dear to Krishna. So then I'll skip over to text 78. Okay, now Brahma starts describing Lord Shiva's abode. Just a little bit. So first he condemns himself. So this is the last part of him condemning himself. Simply by the spontaneous glance of favor upon me from his lotus face, I became joyful and I realized how fortunate I was to have visited the land of Vraja, which is so dear to him. He's referring to his visit. When did Brahma visit Vraja? When he stole the cowherd boys. So at that time, he visits. And then what does Brahma say? The next verse is really amazing. It says, fearing I would commit more offenses if I stayed there for too long, I then went away. What else need I tell you about my ill fortune? And this is a good mood to have for those who are materially conditioned. Not to stay long in Vrindavan. Go, visit, offer obeisances, perform service, spend a little time going and seeing the holy dham and this and that, and then leave. Vrindavan is not the place to hang around. Vrindavan it's very, very elevated. And even Brahma doesn't stay there. What kind of upstarts are we to go and think that we can just go and live in Vrindavan? Prabhupada didn't like that. And he only wanted devotees who had service in Vrindavan to live in Vrindavan. If you don't have service in Vrindavan, just come, visit, go for yatra, pray for purification, and leave. So then, see the title goes, Brahma directs Narada to Lord Shiva. So, text 80. In fact, in this universe, I see no object of Lord Vishnu's mercy equal to Mahadev. Let me blow this up. Okay. He is famous as the dear friend of the Lord. Try to see. Okay, yeah. Text 81. Lord Shiva is always intoxicated by the taste found at Sri Krishna's lotus feet. He therefore has no interest in any of the normal goals of life, even up to the rulership of the universe and the sense enjoyment such rulership provides. As if ridiculing materialists like me, who are simply addicted to sense enjoyment, he goes around naked, wearing garlands of dhustura, arka, and bones smeared all over with ashes. Text 81. Oops. His matted locks scattered about, he moves around aimlessly like a madman, yet he is unable to conceal his glories. With joy he carries on his head the Ganga, born from the water that washed Krishna's lotus feet. When he dances, he destroys the universe. Text 84. By Krishna's grace, Lord Shiva and his wife are able to award liberation to candidates like me who eagerly want it. So Shiva and Parvati, Umadevi, they can offer liberation. But that liberation won't take you to the spiritual world. It just puts you right in the middle. So that's why impersonalists also, they like to worship Shiva. Many impersonalists like to worship Shiva. Or so-called pseudo-impersonalists, pseudo-Mayavadis, neo-Mayavadis, they're very fond of Shiva. Because it's true, there's some degree, Shiva offers liberation. Indeed, everyone who lives on Shiva's planet is liberated. By his mercy, so many persons have become liberated souls and even pure devotees of Krishna. Text 86. To consider Lord Shiva different from Krishna is a serious spiritual deviation. The personality of God tolerates offenses against himself, but not against Lord Shiva. Commentary. Lord Shiva is described as the recipient of Lord Vishnu's mercy, but this does not mean that the two lords are different from one another in the same way that Lord Vishnu differs from the Jivas. The Padma Purana includes the Nama Parad Bhajan Stotra, the list of 10 offenses against chanting. There it is said, Shivasya Shri Vishnor, Yahi Guna Namadi Sakalam, Diya Bhinnam Pashyet Sakalu Nama Hitakaraha. One who sees differences between any of Lord Shiva's qualities, names, and those of Shri Vishnu's is an antagonist to Harinam. That's another type of translation. That Shrivasya Shri Vishnor, Yahi Guna Namadi Sakalam. That one way is to consider the names of demigods in Lord Shiva to be equal to Lord Vishnu. Another translation is to consider them to be different is an offense. It is a translation. This Gopi Paranadana Prabhu is commenting on this. Lord Vishnu cannot tolerate offenses against Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is the greatest of Lord Vishnu's empowered incarnations. Lord Shiva is especially empowered to distribute in the material world the elevated tastes of pure devotional service. Okay. Text 87-88. When Maya, the master of Tripura, grew intoxicated with pride by Lord Shiva's benediction and placed Lord Shiva in danger, and when Lord Shiva was troubled by other demons like Vrikasura, the Supreme Lord saved him and encouraged him with nectarian words. And sometimes to broadcast Lord Shiva's glories, Lord Krishna takes the role of his subordinate and worships him with intimate devotion. There's a lot to read. Although Krishna was personally present at the churning of the nectar from the milk ocean, he and the rulers of the universe chose to worship Lord Shiva, the life and soul of Gauri. Lord Shiva collected and drank the terrible poison which thereafter became his ornament. He was then ceremonially bathed in the presence of everyone assembled and was glorified with floods of praise. The Puranas sing of Lord Hari's compassion towards Lord Hara. You surely know all this and more, O thoughtful sage. To recall these glories, you need to only exercise your memory. Then Sri Parikshit said, "O dear mother, affectionate protector of your son, Narada bowed down to his spiritual master, Lord Brahma. And when Brahma saw his son Narada eager to set off for Kailash, Brahma then told him something more. Shri Brahma Vacha. Kuvera once earned the gratitude of Lord Shiva by devotedly worshipping him. From then on, within this universe, Lord Shiva has submitted to Kuvera's authority on Kuvera's Mount Kailash. Lord Shiva, the husband of Uma, lives there as the guardian of Kuvera's side of the heavenly sphere. Accompanied by suitable attendants, he shows but a small fraction of his opulence. Just as the personality of Godhead, Krishna, brought under control the devotion of his servants like me, resides on my planet, and in heaven and elsewhere, Lord Shiva lives in Kailash, displaying suitable pastimes. So in this way, Lord Shiva also reciprocates with his devotees, because he is not a jiva, he is Shiva Tattva, he is almost Vishnu. So, and he is an empowered incarnation in the sense of a guna avatar. Now let me tell you the opinion of the Vayu Purana. The abode of Sri Mahadev lies outside the seven coverings of the universe. So, yeah. Eternal, full of happiness, that abode is absolutely real. So that abode doesn't get destroyed. This Mahā-prasāda and Sadashiva Loka, it doesn't get destroyed. Therefore, it is a liberated planet. It is above the influence of time actually. It's not within the realm of time. It's above that. Eternal, full of happiness, that abode is absolutely real. It can be attained by the best of Lord Shiva's servants. There, Lord Shiva, served by the most excellent regalia, reveals himself in his full splendor, surrounded by companions who share opulence and beauty equal to his. As his personal deity, he worships Lord Shankarshan, non-different from himself. What amazing wonders does Lord Shiva in this manifestation not display? Everyone who sees Lord Shiva worshipping Shankarshan, one expansion of the Supreme worshipping another, becomes astonished, especially when Lord Shiva dances in ecstasy and offers wonderful prayers. Lord Shiva's worship of Sri Shankarshan can also be seen in the earthly planetary system in Ilavata Varsha, as Shukadev Goswami describes in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 17. You have the power to go there because you have pure devotion for him. Therefore go, take shelter of him and see the real mercy of Krishna. Okay. Then Sri Parikshit said, my dear mother, after Narada received these instructions, he departed for Shiva Loka with joyful anticipation, chanting Shiva Krishna. Okay, now Narada visits Shiva Loka. Sri Parikshit said, arriving in Shiva Loka from a distance, the sage Narada saw Lord Shiva, Sri Hara, who had just finished his worship of Lord Shankarshan, Sri Hari. Entranced in ecstatic love, Lord Shiva was dancing and loudly singing the glories of his Lord, while his associates played instrumental music and shouted Jai Jai. With great affection, he praised his assistants like Nandishwar, as well as the goddess Uma, who was expertly clapping her hands. The sight of all this delighted Narada. Vibrating his veena and nodding his head to show respect, he called out several times, you are the greater recipient of Krishna's mercy. And in a sweet voice, he recounted to Lord Shiva everything just told to him by their father, Lord Brahma. Okay, I'm not going to read all the purport. Oops. Narada came closer, hoping to touch the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, the best of friends of the Vaishnavas. But as the sage came near, Lord Shiva, a flood of Krishna consciousness, pleasure driving him wild, forcibly drew Narada closer and embraced him. Without hesitating, he asked Narada with respect, dear son of Brahma, what are you saying? Absorbed in the taste of talking with that superlative Vaishnava Narada, Lord Shiva then stopped his playful dancing and sat down. He sat on a straw mat in the Virasana posture, and a few of his gentle companions seated themselves around him. With devotion, Narada bowed down to Lord Shiva, the life and soul of Parvati, and chanted the 6-syllable Rudra mantra. Narada then recited prayers glorifying Lord Shiva as the supreme controller of the universe and elaborately proclaimed the fullness of the mercy bestowed upon Shiva by Lord Krishna. So then Narada praises Lord Shiva, who then becomes angry. So Narada praises excessive praise. So Lord Rudra, the best of the Vaishnavas, the initiator of devotional service to Vishnu, at once covered his ears and angrily replied, Rudra Vacha, Sri Rudra said, I am not the Lord of the universe, nor an object of Krishna's mercy. I am just a poor soul, always hankering for the favor of the servants of his servants. This is where it becomes bewildering, because Shiva is acting like a jiva. He's talking like a jiva. I am just a poor soul. So then, Parikshit said, upon hearing this, sage Narada was shocked. Thinking he had acted offensively, he at once stopped praising Shiva, Lord Shiva's non-difference from Krishna, and began to speak in a soft voice. This is, he's in Maheshdām. Yeah, he's in Maheshdām. Sri Narada said, you certainly know the confidential, mysterious glories of Lord Vishnu and the Vaishnavas, and you expertly explain those glories. The best Vaishnavas therefore aspire for your mercy. Lord Krishna also has great regard for you and extensively spreads your glories. Has Krishna not worshipped you many times in his various incarnations and taken from you many boons? Sri Parikshit said, hearing this, Lord Shiva could no longer maintain his gravity. Ashamed, he sprang to his feet, covered Narada's mouth with both hands, and said, don't even mention that arrogance of mine. He then boldly told Narada with surprise in his voice, just see the most incomprehensible power of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Oh my Lord is so sober. He is such a deep and varied ocean of great qualities. Even though I have committed many kinds of offenses against him, he still does not reject me. Sri Parikshit said, seeing Lord Shiva completely absorbed in the transcendental taste of pure devotion for Krishna, Narada, pleased beyond limit, grasped Lord Shiva's feet, made him sit down again and spoke to appease him. Sri Narada said, you are so dear to Lord Achyuta. Is it possible that you could ever offend him? Though people sometimes see what they think are your offenses, he never sees them at all. Bana was the cause of trouble for saintly persons. Too proud of the strength of his arms, he used magic to arrest Aniruddha and fight against Krishna, the wielder of the disc. When you saw that Bana, your devotee, whom you had maintained like a son, was on the verge of being killed, to save his life, you offered prayers to Sri Hari. At once Lord Krishna put aside his anger. Now please, the Lord gave Bana a form like his own and raised him to being one of your associates, a position rarely obtained even by demigods. When such enemies of the Vaishnavas, such as Gargya, worshipped you by severe penances, the benedictions you gave them were not without loopholes. Although Chitraketu and others like him foolishly dared to criticize you, you never became angry at them, because they were surrendered devotees of the plenary portions of Lord Hari. So Lord Shiva also, he is very compassionate towards Vaishnavas, even those who are not pure. Therefore, Vaishnavas seek mercy of Lord Shiva. That, Lord Shiva is very compassionate, as here Narada is referring to Chitraketu. That Chitraketu foolishly dared to criticize you. But Shiva didn't take offense to that. Once, just to please Krishna, you expressed the desire to become even greater than he, but then you very cleverly modified your request, asking him to instead make you his devotee. Therefore, the Supreme Lord granted you and God, Durga, the authority to give liberation for which Brahma and many others pray. Just see, though you have the power and opulence unobtainable by Brahma and the other demigods, you disregard your material happiness and live like a holy madman. Always fixed in trance for devotion for Lord Vishnu, you appear totally insane. Who else but you would go dance naked with his wife and attendants? Today I have finally seen your amazing uncontrollable eagerness to serve the Supreme Lord in pure devotion. No wonder Krishna loves you the most. What more can I say? Krishna's love for you is never interrupted, and by your mercy many others have become dear to him. So I'll stop there. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Prabhu, so
It's not on the bottom.
Hare Krishna. So we say that the demons they usually worship Brahma, right? Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, they perform Rashtriya
Both
of Brahma.
So many of them are worshippers of Shiva though.
Ravana also, he worshipped Lord Brahma, and he actually tried to disturb Lord Shiva, and when Lord Shiva defeated him, that's when he seems to have asked
But he
for
did become a
benediction.
devotee. The thing is, there are devotees of Lord Shiva.
Which are the famous names? Okay, Bhasmasura is one.
Is this there?
Vrika and Bhashma are same.
Bana,
Yeah.
Banasura,
Mm.
and
'Cause it seems like most of the time they go to Lord Brahma for these benedictions.
those who are less intelligent go to Lord Brahma. Those who are a little more intelligent will go to Lord Shiva.
What's your reasoning behind this?
But because Shiva is higher than Brahma, anybody knows that. That it's very common knowledge, even among demigods, that Shiva is higher than Brahma. So, they sometimes go to Shiva also. Sometimes go to Shiva also.
Like when they're
So many Puranic stories are there. I can't recall anything, but I can pull up like unlimited. I can send later references. The entire Tamasic Purana is full of all of them. That's why the Shiva's devotees, they believe that Shiva is supreme, because there are many instances where Shiva is worshipped. For instance, the demigods were famously in the killing of Tripura.
But even though there it says that Vishnu is the one who made him.
Yeah, but anyways, the thing is the demigods approached Shiva. And Shiva was engaged in killing, but then by the mercy of Narayana, he killed Tripura. Tripura was actually a devotee of Shiva. Then he became arrogant and then turned against Shiva himself.
Maya, seems like Maya Danava received a benediction. His city was called Tripura, and therefore Lord Shiva was known as Tripurari. We just said
but
that,
there's Tripurasura. And I think maybe that's just another name.
Okay.
So we just saw that Tripura, the name came up.
So this first offense that's there.
Shiva.
Yeah, so
It's not the first offense.
sorry, third offense that's there. So I can so to consider him equal to Vishnu, and to also consider him not equal to Vishnu is also an offense.
Yes,
So what, it's like
because it's like milk and yogurt. That's the point. That there is difference, but it's the point is that it's not the difference that the living entity has with the Supreme Lord.
so is the same from Brahma?
And in that sense, it's that in that sense Shiva and Vishnu are same, because it's not the difference that the living entity has with the Supreme Lord, in the sense that the Jiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva are very different. Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva are not so different. There's some difference, but there's less difference than that, because Shiva is also expansive, very powerful. And Shiva Tattva is not something that somebody can just take up. It's not a position that anybody can attain. Shiva Tattva is unique. And Jiva Tattva, there are multiple Jivas, but there's not multiple. Shiva is one.
It seems like this translation, you could please correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like this is referring to the Guna avatars, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to think that the names of demigods, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, and they're both Guna avatars, to be different from Lord Vishnu.
They're not, Brahma is not, if you take that translation, Brahma is not even mentioned. Shivasya Shri Vishnu Yahe Guna Namadi Sakalam. Namadi Sakalam refer to, Nama Adi refers to the names, qualities, pastimes, like that. Adi.
Is this, can we pull up the translation
I
that
have
you...
to look, because now I don't know where it was, but it was way up there.
I mean,
It's
can you
difficult to
just search
pull
this
up
book
right
if
now.
you could search this
No,
book?
if I search, I'm not going to get that out of this one. Because it's going to pull it up in the whole Veda base.
You can't just search
And-
this book. I'm sure you can in the folio.
Yeah.
You can definitely search it in the folio. You can even search that section.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know which section.
What-
Shivashya.
He found it.
So to consider Lord Shiva different from Krishna is a serious spiritual deviation. So this is
One who sees any differences between
Wrong.
Lord Shiva's qualities, that's what I said, called Nama Adi Sakalam, names, and those of Sri Vishnu is an antagonist to Harinam. Means one who considers them to be absolutely different. When it means absolutely different, Acharyas are explaining, as we just read, that absolutely different means the philosophy that then it becomes that Shiva is another living entity. He's just another demigod. He's just like Indra, Chandra, Vayu. No, that's offensive. That is the point.
Then, how do we...
He's not even like Brahma. Brahma falls in that category. And Brahma doesn't get the same praise. It's a little different. You saying, oh, Brahma and Shiva. No. Not in the sense of the Gunavata. The point is in terms of the Tattva. Brahma's Tattva is Jiva Tattva. Brahma is not a different Tattva. He is Jiva Tattva. But Shiva is not Jiva Tattva. And so in that sense, it is the different Tattvas. There are 4 distinct Tattvas. You have Vishnu Tattva, you have Jiva Tattva, you have Shiva Tattva, and you have Shakti Tattva. These are very different. But Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva are closest. And then you have Jiva Tattva and Shakti Tattva. In fact, in one sense, Jiva Tattva is another type of Shakti. But anyways, in this sense we are saying Jiva and Shakti. Means referring to the energies that the Jiva becomes subject to. Either Yoga Maya or Maha-Maya under that control.
About the mood that we see the different devotees have in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where they're all saying, no, I'm not getting any of Krishna's mercy, I don't get Krishna's mercy. I heard that for like someone in my state, it's not good to try to think of that mood or imitate that, oh, I'm not getting any of Krishna's mercy. Because if I didn't have some of Krishna's mercy, I wouldn't be able to chant, not do stupid sinful activities. So I was just wondering about that.
I think you see, they only say that when they're excessively glorified like this, that they don't like to be glorified in that way. And it happens only when they're glorified, because you're such a great devotee. No, I'm not even a devotee. But it's not that we think that we're not devotees, but it's just that when that glorification comes, they don't like the glorification. In that sense, that's how Shiva is Vaishnava Yata Shambhu. He's the greatest in the material. And what happens is, after this section of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Shiva directs Narada back into the material universe and go meet Narada. Narada. Narada, he directs Narada to meet Prahalad. His disciple. So he says this. So then Prahalad, so that's how, that basically Sanatana Goswami is grading the different levels of devotion and the different kinds of devotees. So now it's Shiva, and then now it's gone to Prahalad, and it keeps going up, and goes all the way to Goloka Vrindavan. And then finally, what is that?
They send him back down to Govardhan.
Yeah, but the point is that ultimately the principle that Ramya kaścid upasana vrajavadhu vargena ya kalpita, that the worship that the gopis perform is the topmost. Krishna. That is ultimately what the Brihad Bhagavatamrita will arrive at.
Short point. That how Lord Shiva chants Ramanama? In Navadvip Mahatmya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in Antardvip, Lord Chaitanya initiated Shiva into Krishna Nama.
Yeah, into Krishna Nama. Yeah. Then, okay, all right, 7:15. We have to end. 7:15. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Who's singing? Start.